Hi friends, welcome back to my studio. This is Mary Correa. Today I wanted to show you some different ways of using stencils. So I know that most of us usually have a ton of stencils. I know my collection grows frequently. And we all know how to use them in our paintings. We take paint, we put it through the stencil, or remove paint with a baby wipe through a stencil. But I wanted to show you today a couple of the different ways that I like to use my stencils. So this first one I'm going to show you, I have a stencil, and I have over there on the side is a Stabilo pencil, which is a water-soluble pencil. And I'm going to use that to trace around the outline of that stencil. And I'm going to do it a couple times. And I'm also going to use a Neocolor crayon with the same effect. So since both of those are water soluble, I can trace, or with the Neocolor I'll actually fill in the entire shape, and then I can come back with a water brush and dissolve that pigment. And that gives me another way of using a stencil. Instead of just putting paint through, I can get a different effect that I wouldn't be able to get with paint. So the second way I like to use the stencil differently is to actually take my Neocolor and color on the back of the stencil. So I'm coloring onto the plastic portion of the stencil. And again, I'm using something that's water soluble. So you could use a Neo color, you could use a scribble stick, you could use a gelato, a distress crayon, anything that will react with water. And I'm just picking a couple shades here, coloring them on the stencil, and then I'll grab my spray bottle and I'll hit it with a little bit of water, and then I'll take that stencil, flip it over onto my blank page so it'll transfer the color that way. It's also nice because you can come back and you'll see I'll add more color a second time because a couple spots that I missed, and it gives you a background to get started. Now this third way is to use your stencil as a cutting guide. When I use stencils, I like to have a repeated pattern. So if I'm using circles, I like to use several different shaped circles, different size circles. But here what I've done is gone ahead and grabbed my stencil. I'm just tracing around with a pencil. Then I'll grab my scissors and I'll cut those shapes out. And so when I use the stencil, and then I can use the collage features that have the exact same shape, but they're going to be different since they're on a pattern paper. So that will add some variety to my page without adding too much craziness with multiple different patterns. And the fourth way I wanted to show you was to use your stencil as a coloring guide. So if I wanted to work in watercolor, it's a little harder to use a stencil if you're using watercolor, but I can go ahead and just lightly trace that shape onto my page and then come back with my watercolors on a wet brush and just fill in that area. And so I'll get the look of the stencil using a watercolor paint. Thank you for joining me again today. I hope you liked the video, and if you did, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also that little notification bell so you can find out whenever I post a new video. So I hope you all have a great day and happy arting.